Grand Rising. Yes, it's late, but still Grand Rising. Today was a beautiful day. I hope all is well with all of my subscribers, my viewers. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please show some support. It's free. Send some love to the block. And yeah, I've been super busy as usual. I love keeping myself busy because it keeps me out of my overthinking habits. The type 1 aspect in my family has been really, really, really improved with the insulin pump. And I am actually, I feel like I'm just coming back to earth. It was a long process to get here, and I'm just so grateful that number one, we made it with no complications, and I just have nothing but gratefulness for the technology that we are able to use now here where we are. Peace and love to New York. I have been healing, enjoying Nubia narrative, K Nubia, K narrative, enjoying learning, resting. I had not realized that until we got the pump in the first week. That was a little bumpy. We got past that, and I hadn't realized how sleep deprived I really was. I was actually exhausted. This 6 year stretch, majority of the time we had zero technology to assist me. Now that I look back and I see exactly what I weighed in my hands every day, giving my daughter injections, I'm amazed that I was even able to pull this off without complications because I had no idea in the beginning what I was doing. And now that's totally different. And there is a joy and a peace in that. And she is thriving beautifully, and she's almost bigger than me. And it's just really a gift. And in this new process of being a parent to a teenager in America has really made me study impact and perceptions, and really, really forces me to do some one serious healing. And on the other hand of the healing, it has made me have to learn empathy and really understand what empathy is, and really understand that perceptions do matter. They do matter when you're a parent, when you're a family member, when you have responsibilities to your loved ones. Your perceptions of your responsibility matters. It doesn't directly get talked about. It's normally thrown around as insults or used as excuses for bad behavior, and it's a lot to unpack. The family is very important to me, even though I had to actually be the family that I wanted due to certain circumstances that we will get into later, because I really think it's an important conversation to at least have, even if I have it with myself. There are so many things that we as people have to unpack in order to grow, or there's no growth. And not growing is not a position I want to align with. But first, before I go and do a little deep dive into this, I want to share this song because I heard it a while ago and it blew my mind. So, yeah, I want to hear this. And that's what I'm about to do. Stop Looking Entertainment. Big shout out to you. Peace and love. Please, guys, go give my family. Like, I really never met him personally, but I feel like we're connected. Um, he's mad talented. You may have heard some of his art on some of my music, and I'm so like honored. Like, I was so honored when he sends me stuff. It's just so amazing. And I am loving this track. I'm loving everything about it. And this is my girl. This is my girl. I love our revolutionary, no matter what. I hope it's not too loud because I can't tell.
Everything ain't always what it seems. This life seems something like a dream. Everything ain't always what it seems. This life seems something like a dream. Everything ain't always what it seems. This life seems something like a dream. Everything ain't always what it seems. This life seems something like a dream. Rocking thrift store clothes, catching deals on the clearance rack. If your girl bougie, then you know she can't handle that. So you ignore with the thick duck in your ears like it's candle wax. Your homie doing good, well at least that's what it seems. You come over for the soiree, only to find out that nigga about to get evicted. You wonder what the bumps was. Oh man, them bed bugs that leave you itching. This is like the game. Sometimes life is like a fucking game. What a shame. Sometimes where you have up and down, but you keep on moving and keep on living. How you switching up the pitching. This that rare type wisdom that you feeling in the rhythm. So get the naysaying out, spirit out your system. You're still alive, you're still breathing. Matter of fact, you're still living. Everything ain't always what it seems. Life seems something like a dream.
I fell in love with this song immediately.
Something like a dream. Everything ain't always what it seems. Life seems something like a dream. Everything ain't always what it seems. This life seems something like a dream. Everything ain't always what it seems. This life seems something like a dream. Everything ain't always what it seems. This life seems something like a dream. Collecting coupons from Groupon to get your salad dressing and your great coupon. Keeping up with the junkies so you don't get pooped on. But fuck that.
Oh my God, I love it.
A setback. Having
I ain't stop
stress
moving.
over nothing. Losing time like it's jet lag. Can't let nobody monstrosities become a setback. Only a few balls left on the sale. An old lady walking across the lot took a trip and almost fell. Relax, everything gonna work itself out. Like aerobics, the bum dude on the corner can smell money.
He did that. I love it.
Knows it. Trying to scramble some change because he's too lazy to work a job, but his nose itch. Tammy coming over later, but you remember how bored you felt the last time. Her personality don't match her look, so you thinking in your mind, what happened to the last time? No worries, life will work itself out proper. Even though it's a dream and it ain't what it seems, don't think too much and just prosper.
I see you.
Just prosper. Everything ain't always what it seems. Life seems.
I definitely see you.
Everything ain't always what it seems. This life seems something like everything ain't always what it seems. This life seems something like a dream. Everything ain't always what it is. This life seems something like a dream.
Hey.
Everything ain't always what it seems.
Hey.
This life seems something like a dream.
Yes, I love it. He is so talented. We have so many talented brothers out here. This is a beautiful thing. Brothers and sisters, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Stop looking entertainment. Please go and show him some love. All right, what's going on here? Oh, I got that off before I was just playing something else. Okay, so, peace and love to the block. Peace and love to the block. If you are tuning in now, sending you positive vibes. If you are listening on a replay, sending you positive vibes as well. This is going to be a long episode. I'm going to chop it up. It's too many parts. I would appreciate feedback if you feel comfortable. I understand some of this stuff is going to be triggering because um, I can relate to trauma, and trauma is triggering. There are impacts that you deal with. And I mean, any type of trauma. I mean, you could be, say, you're in a trailer down south and a storm, a hurricane comes, and you're trapped and you're in a position where your life is threatened, or you're in a car and a bridge goes out. Like, trauma is a lot of things. Trauma is a lot of things. Maybe you were taught to aggressively. Um, there's so many different levels: abuse, verbal abuse, financial abuse, all types of things. Trauma has an energy, excuse me, therefore impact. It's physics. It's physics. And everything, even impacts, have energies and they have consequences and they have I'm aligned with what I have been through in my life. And it's a lot. Will not change a thing at this point. Um, I would have probably needed sympathy like before I got here. Probably would have been, you know, a good time for that. So this isn't about sympathy. This isn't about blaming. This isn't about um because the subjects of triggers, especially when dealing with the family, is so in this society, like it's like taboo. Like Denise, like it's not talked about socially. It's not talked about even within the family with everyone to have a plan or have a way of going about everything moving forward so that everyone is safe. That doesn't really happen a lot in my families, and I mean, there's a lot of things. There's things our teenagers go through, and because mommy's busy or mommy's gone all the time, and daddy's busy or maybe going all the time, they don't have the space that they need to express their problems, issues to you. So there's so many things dealing with trauma, and this is why I know that this is going to be a long process, but I feel like it's needed. I feel like sometimes we, even in our personal lives, go through things that we really don't understand why they're happening until, and this is a gift because everybody doesn't make it, until one day something else happens and a light bulb comes on and you're able to identify problematic frequencies that we carry. And personally, for myself, I carried many signs of shame that really needs to be torn down and dismantled because it is a brick wall that stops us from growth and keeps us in the same cycle of repeating trauma and reacting to triggers that we may not know that we have. And when I'm saying we, I can actually say me and take everyone away from any identification to this because this is going to be a lot. If you're going to listen to this, I would not suggest you um, have your babies listening. What I would suggest, if you're dealing with some type of trauma or in the process of trying to heal from something that you don't understand how to move forward, I would definitely suggest getting help, talking to someone who is experienced in survival. I mean, therapy is good, but I don't really see solutions in our community, which would make me think that, therapy is actually making change in the society. I'm not saying therapy is bad because I myself have been in therapy for years under false diagnoses. That'll be another life. Um, it's a lot to unpack because when you're dealing with traumas that shame is involved in, a lot of things that need to be addressed do not get addressed or they do not get addressed correctly. And that can be painful. It can be painful for the persons involved in the trauma or the persons born from the trauma or the persons connected to someone that, like, say, a mother and a daughter, or a mother and a son, or a father and a daughter and a father and a son. Like, it affects and impacts more than one person. And I think there's a real problem generationally that is being overlooked over and over and over and over again. We all want to point fingers at the black woman, the black man, the black child, the black girl, the black boy. We all want to point fingers at each other. But where are these individuals coming from? They're coming from a family. They have learned and inherited it. They inherited um, ways, personality. I mean, our environment is already all over the place. So we won't even look at it from that perception. We're just going to look at it from the perception of the home, the stability in the home. The trauma doesn't go away because you want to ignore it. There is an impact. There is a energy with Dr. Ritchie. I saw a woman murdered like an hour ago. That's trauma. Seeing someone's life taken is trauma. And I don't think we all really understand the impact that the way this society has been and is going. I don't think we really understand the complete impact on us all. And some of us have stories that will make you cringe. There are stories worse than mine. And I want to stop right now and really give thanks to the family that did take me in. A lot of people hear parts of my story, and it started in the middle because I never knew the truth about everything, unlike now. And I have been working on my book still. Please don't think that this is not happening. And I'm telling myself this because it's been really hard for me to start this book because there are so many emotions tied up with the traumatic details to where I was angry. I was angry. I was hurt. I was broken. I have went through a pure transformation. It was organic. I was not ready for what I took on. So I had to get ready. And it took me a little longer than I expected. And it definitely changed my biochemistry. Like I can't even think the same. Like I look at people differently and I'm gonna slow down a little bit, breathe. I don't wanna like go on and on and on. I'm not gonna do a 6 hour live, which this is really what it's gonna take. But I do want to set a foundation with this live. The next episodes on this podcast that I created out of despair and desperation and also self care. I'm really enjoying my journey. I think it's making me a better person and a better woman and a better mother and a better family member. Everything that I'm saying and have said was never from a place of malice. I had sleep deprivation, okay? I have not had a peace of mind until a couple of months ago. So whew, that was a rough 6 years. I think it was intentional. I think it was ugly and nasty. But what I had to sit down and say to myself was, Michelle, you looked for help from people who were not able to help. And it has nothing to do with the individuals, it has everything to do with the foundations of our family structure. And that's just it. There are family issues that go under the rug. Like everybody knows that saying, sweep it under the rug. Oh, we gotta sweep this under the rug. Let me pick this rug up and sweep. This is why I love the broom on my when I pre-record my lives, my BlockCast. Um, what has that done for us? What has that done for the home? Imagine a home, a father, a mother, a father, a father, a mother, a mother. Align it however you need it. There's a home, children, huge family, both sides. When something happens that is traumatic, especially abuse, abuse has a slippery slope here. Okay, I don't really understand that, but children, and nobody's gonna tell me that I didn't live through that. And no disrespect to my mother, because my mother was born in 1914 in North Carolina, Johnston County. Look it up. They call that a specific type of county. Look it up. Look up the sign. I'm not gonna say it on my BlockCast. I refuse to give those people energy. Um, all she knew was, what is it? Spare the rod, spoil the child, which was used in, I believe, Christianity. I don't know if it's in another religion. Forgive me if I misspeak. I'm only speaking from what I know, my perception. So you may share it, you may not. It really depends on who you are and your life experiences. You may not have dealt with trauma. You may have had a Cosby family or the Golden Girls family, or like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you didn't go through trauma, and honestly, you should be thanking your God, because there are so many families that have had to deal with gun violence, everything you can think of, everything you can think of. Mother's Day this year was so hard for me, because of the instability of the so-called black labeled family. You know how I feel about black. So I will always say black label because that's what it is. Um, the stability was disrupted, and it was never attended to. It was never tweaked around to actually have productive results. The assaults on family is where the root is, because the family brings life into this world. And when a life gets here and this life is tainted from the beginning with trauma, that's an issue. And it's more of an issue when you don't know. And in this moment, I want to really thank my adopted mother for trying to do the right thing. And I also want to say that I'm very upset with my maternal grandmother. And I know this is going to sound horrible, but I don't care how it sounds. Somebody's got to do this, okay? And it might as well be me. I'm very upset with my maternal grandmother because my adopted mother of the life that she wanted with me. And I know that sounds like, oh, you're just pointing the blame. No, I know what I'm talking about. My adopted mom, I have to say that I don't even like usually say that, but I only say adopted to identify because it gets confusing. Because I could talk about both of my moms in the same sentence, and people will look at me like I'm crazy. Like, didn't you just say she's dead? No, she's in Minnesota, and it's like, what are you talking about? Oh, I forgot. My adopted mom, my birth mom. So there is a difference. My birth mom is only a few years older than me, some years older than me. My adopted mom, we were 65 years apart. When I say 1914, it should make you raise your brow, but I'll just say we were 65 years apart. Now, when I was born, there was a situation that was swept under the rug. Now, without getting into details, my question would be, if I was given up for adoption, why was I at her house every weekend? And this isn't a question that needs an answer. It's more pointing out a different perception to my adoption that people on the outside don't know. I was given a closed adoption, but my grandmother chose to befriend and be friends with my adopted mother in hopes that she could stay in my life. And I don't have a problem with that. But the problem came when she lied on me. As a baby, she lied. She told a lie. And before I go past the lie, I want to sit with the lie for a minute. Why would a grandmother lie on a baby? Michelle, you have to be out of your rabbit ass mind. Like, you're tripping. Have you lost your mind? No, I have not. Just hear me out. I was a baby born, left in the hospital. My adopted mother told me when I was old enough and was asking questions, since I really stuck out. Everybody called her grandma. I'm like, why do y'all keep calling my mom grandma? They made me actually put one and one together to get two to say, wait, my grandmom's younger than my mom. How does that work? So I've always been trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Okay. I've always had questions. So I was told I was adopted around 6 years old, 4 or 5, 6, something like that. But I always had weekend visits with my grandmother and my family. So they were friends. And of course, my adopted mom want to know, well, how did she get left in the hospital? The story was told as a lie. She basically told my mother, my adopted mother, well, you are raising my granddaughter because her mother was an addict and this baby was a crack baby. I laugh at it now because I know it's not true, but my adopted mother never knew that was not true. I never knew that was not true until recently. I honestly believe this because this was the story of me, and that really affected me, and it affected my behavior, like subconsciously, because like I didn't feel like a crack baby. I was like skipped 2 grades because I was so damn smart. So like I just always felt off. And I think she had a child and her baby died. Rest her soul, my sister. So the lie, back to the lie. The lie set a precedent for my life with my adopted mother, and my life with this society. It was not a good thing. And again, I'm so grateful for my mom, Catherine. And I'm so grateful she came to me in a dream the other night because she knew I was going to do this and I just needed a sign from her. And she told me with her voice for me to calm down and breathe. And that's what I'm about to do. Let me breathe in and out really quick. So, why would a grandmother lie? And again, this is no attack on my grandmother, but I am highly upset with her. And I have that right. But I want to really break this down because this happens so much in our families, whether it's something like this or it's something else. And things are lied about and things are swept under the rug, and children are involved, and children are being neglected, and children are growing up to hurt adults who wind up hurting more adults, and it's just a vicious cycle that goes on and on and on and on and on. And it also started with me all over again, and I'll be damned I'll be damned if I had not broke these chains. And it almost killed me. It almost killed me as a human being. It almost killed me. It almost made me realize like this place is just a dead land with people that don't care. And I really had to sometimes go outside and see people spread love to me, and I spread it back for me to be okay most days. Because this is just unbelievable. It's unforgivable. But it's something that happens. We make mistakes. And I'm learning serenity, and I'm learning how to empathize, and I'm learning to face the impact, switch up my perception however it needs to be adjusted, but face the impact. What if there was a better way? I'm trying to I'm trying to comprehend all this pain and suffering and lies and deceit and shame. I'm trying to digest all of this, and it has really been a serious process. I have been close to getting a therapist twice, and I actually got a referral for one, but I'm kind of like, you know what, guys, I'm gonna do this on my own because it's so much, it's so layered. There's so many layers. But there was one end result to this trauma and the hiding of it and the lies to keep someone else's ego intact because they knew they had a mother. I really want to send love to us all. The pressure that we are under and have been under that we don't even understand is great. Between inadequacies, the list goes on and on. But there's a bright side. Out of all of this trauma and all of this strife, some of us get a calling and actually hear it and actually answer to it. And at this point in my life, I have decided to work on me, myself, and I, which in turn will improve my relatives, my family, my loved ones, hopefully anyone who's willing to listen. But I mean, listen to understand, understand, like overstand all the stands, like to really get it, to make actual change. Because I had to really, really, really get it to make actual change. Trauma actually made me protective of my daughter because some of the stories that I've had to live through, some of the stories attached to me, some of the stories that I've heard from strangers have really affected me. Really affected me. And I want to see better and I want to do better. And I would like when I die, I would like to have at least some hope in my heart to know that my daughter, my loved ones, my friends all over the world, Europe, Pakistan, Nigeria, Switzerland, peace and love to everyone. I want to know that my seed, my descendant is going to be here and able to stand. We need healing. I need healing. Um, to have a child have to go to therapy because of family members really changed my life. Knit family that I see on this land is it's the Democrats and the Republic. I mean the Republic, the Republicans. Those are the only. That's like the only family that I see out here that um got the whole package down tight. You know, and it's not. If you have a loved one, how can you see them hurting? How can you see them in the streets? How can you see them? And mind you, everybody's not able to help everybody, but there's something that everybody can do, no matter how small, no matter how big. And maybe because I'm a veteran daughter of world wars, not Gulf War, I mean world wars. My dad was in the World War, and my adopted parents were in world wars. So maybe I have this no one left behind frequency. Maybe I got that because I was left behind. I don't know. The perception is probably many. There's probably many ways I can look at this. But it doesn't dismiss the fact that I was born from trauma. And that trauma became a secret. And that secret became a cancer in the family that God sent to me. God put it on this woman to bring it into her house, in her home, in her family, and she was robbed of that. And I believe that's why my DNA test came out on the day that she died last year, September 18th. I'll never delete that text. I think I'm going to make it the daggone screenshot on here. And I can't just let it go because I believe that everything happens for a reason, no matter how bad it hurts. And if that's not true, let me believe that because I need to believe that, or I'm doomed. There's no way I can sit here as a woman and say that knowing how I was conceived doesn't affect me. It doesn't make me wonder, had this not happened to my mother, how would I have gotten here? Who would I be? Would my daughter be here today? And it's debilitating at times when I'm looking at it from when I'm not on my high flying distance, Abraham, as Esther says. When I'm low and I have that thought, it's not healthy. So I try to look at it as this happened and there's no more sweeping it under the rug. Maybe everyone kept it a secret until they could be dead. So they would not have to deal with it. This is by no means disrespect. But I'm very pissed. And it's not at anyone in particular. It's with this trauma. It's with this situation. It's with me having to deal with it now when there's been decades. Like my mother's not that much older than me, but that's a lot of years to carry a secret like this. And family members were ringleaders with keeping this. And it's just really shocking. And I only share my story because this happens a lot. Trauma happens, people get embarrassed, or they have to go to work, they don't have time to deal with it. And what about the children? What about the children? Molestation and rape is an issue in our community. And it's like everyone celebrates Mother's Day once a year, and that's the only tweaking to the family that goes on. Or they celebrate Father's Day once a year, but there's no tweaking and growth in our family structure. Now, it has made me close myself off to relationships. I'm raising a female, and I don't want to put her in harm's way. So there's things that I sacrifice for her protection and my awareness of her. It's just trauma changes you. Even if you hear a story about trauma, it after you hear it changes. If you have a family, it changes you. Like when my DNA test came back and found out I was able to actually look at my father and look at my mother, and I was doing the math and seeing how old who was how old, and and I'm looking at my mom who was 16 when I was born. And I was born at the beginning of the year, so I was I need to see mothers and daughters mending their relationships. I need to see fathers and daughters mending their relationships. I need to see mothers and sons mending their relationships. I need to see sisters and brothers mending their relationships if it's possible. Some things there are no coming back from. My mother taught me that some things hurt you bad enough that you die inside and you give up, or you just up and leave and you never look back. I don't want to be that person. So instead of compounding the hurt with A&D ointment here and there, and no, I want to heal. The wound is too big for A&D ointment. You need stitches. We need stitches. Like there is no loyalty. And again, this is to every family. I knew plenty of families who did not have the situation that I had, even just growing up with older parents. Like my situation was always totally different. They always made me wear penny loafers. Do you understand what it was like wearing penny loafers in North Philly? Oh my goodness. Penny loafers. Yeah, me. Mm. Army brat, okay? Peace and love to all the World War veterans. They raised me. So I'm a different breed. I'm not going to lie. I'm a different stock than the average person my age. And I'm fine with that. And I'm really happy to know that because I always wonder why it stuck out. You talk about an old soul, honey. Old soul don't even put the icing on the cake. It's. I'm glad to know my truth, but I also have to know. I'm also admitting that there's a lot of responsibility coming with this, and it a lot has to do with unpacking. A lot has to do with growing my perception to achieve empathy. Because if I do not forgive these people for what they did, I'm not going to be right in my spirit and my heart. And I think that my mother bore enough pain and reduction to her humanity, where I have to share this. I have to share this. I care about family. I love all of my family members. Some of us have issues because they saw me as the narrative that came with me, and it was a flat out lie. I was a baby of trauma, and it ruined my mother's life. And now, me finding out the truth after everyone is dead has really impacted me to make me understand like something's wrong with our families. And I can't take part in it. I wonder every day if my mother hadn't have went through what she went through, where would I be? And I wonder every day how does she cope with having to stay as far away from me as she can because I hurt her. Just the thought of my existence brings back that moment that her body was violated by an adult. And it's hard for me to sit here and say Father's Day is going to be easy for me. And I'm grateful again. I have to say this again. My two parents that took me from that hospital after being left there, which forcibly from my grandmother. And again, I'm going to say I'm very upset with my grandmother. And I need to say that because when you're trying to heal something, this isn't about respect or disrespect. This isn't about that. But you can't address what you don't address. And it's sad that she was in the position to have to do that for whatever reason it was. I, I feel I'm empathetic to her because I know she had a lot going on. This was the 60s. Dark skinned people wasn't calling no police, honey. I understand. They dropped a bomb on my city. So this is even bigger than just my family. There was an assault on us. The 80s, there were a lot of babies left in the hospital. I looked it up, and the numbers are striking. There was a lot of abuse going on back then, and it was never reported. There's no data of it, but I'm living data. And I want to come from this from a place of healing. And I'm sharing my experience to let somebody else know there is a way to not end up a shell of a person where you don't have to run away. You don't have to hang your head down and be ashamed of the trauma that you bear, the trauma that may have birthed you, the trauma that may have walked you to your calling, the trauma that may be too much for you to handle. You may not be capable of understanding who, what, when, where, why. You may be still hanging in the emotions and the pain of everything because it's that's a valid place to be, but it's just not a safe or healthy place to be. And people like us, me, anyone dealing with an imbalance in the family needs space to make it better or at least make it right or at least know, okay, I did everything I could do. This is unhealthy. I have to get out. I have to get away from this frequency. But if you don't know that that's even an option, and a lot of times in families, that's like there's only but so many options you have. You either shut up, shut up, be seen, not heard, and all this crazy stuff. Like that shouldn't apply anymore. That shouldn't be a way of um, handling trauma in the family anymore. It's prehistoric. It's unhealthy. Just like beating your children. I don't believe in it. I just don't believe in it. I know that it never did anything constructive with me because I would go and get another beating. So I don't care about how many studies just say beating your children, is it's productive. It's not, especially when there's no balance, especially when communication is skewed. Or like in my case, I was lied on as a baby. That is like the most sick thing you can do. The most sick thing you can do. To just ignore something very important detail. Just ignore it. Sounds like my divorce. A baby? What baby? Listen, people have to stop this stuff. Stop this carrying on. Stop this image of perfection. There's no such thing. No such thing. Stop this image of hiding behind religion. There's no such thing. Everything comes out. And in the end, your legacy is tarnished. Because you've hurt people and you didn't even go back to fix it. You didn't even let another child come here and the same thing happened to her because they left me unprotected. They did not know what energies was attached to me. And my adopted mother was robbed. I think that had she known that, if she had known the truth, I would have never been allowed to be around these people. I honestly believe that, whether I had a brother or not. I always say, because she had a brother. Well, if I had a brother in your house, why did you leave me in the hospital? And I'm not asking from a place of when. No, I'm asking from a real logic. What's the logic answer of that? And then you're still in my life, and then you're ruining it with a lie to what feed your ego. Come on, lady. Come on. Who does that? A grandmother is supposed to protect their grandchildren. Never heard of such stuff like this. It's disgusting. And I vow to be the opposite of that as a grandchild, as a grandmother. I mean that. I'm gonna tell my daughter, make sure you're not that type of grandmother to turn your back on your own children and grandchildren. That hurt, and it's gonna put a strain. This live is gonna put a strain on wherever the strain needs to be applied. We all in my family have some healing to do. There are children involved, and this isn't direct to anybody. I have three sets. I have three trees I'm connected to. Okay, so if the shoe fits, put it on nicely. Don't want. I honestly never want to know that one of my, not even mine, that anybody went through anything like this. It is a very heavy burden to bear, but it's also a way for me to heal from what I should have healed from a long time ago. It's also a process for me to learn how to deal with um, life, resolution, the process of having different perceptions, the process of injecting humanity back into this experiment. Because I would love to see the data of um, how productive, how productive, how productive for the family and the people on this land. How productive has this experiment, like how has it really been for us? Has it been a gift from God, or is it a curse? What do we have to do to change? If we can change the family, we can change the children that grow up to be adults. I do know that. because I took steps to change and I see it in mine. She is so balanced, even with the imbalance of my families. She's still her family too. She's still balanced. And that's only because I cared enough to ensure she stayed balanced. I did whatever it took. Now, mind you, I would get a reward for that if I was putting the effort I put into her in someone's business. I realize we are pushing our children into an unsafe environment without any equipment because we're not there. We're working too much. We're dating too much. We're doing everything but learning how to be who they need. And it's sick because it's no one's fault directly. The want to be part of a consumer society has a price, especially when its success, not your success, but the society's success, the business, the companies, the banks, it depends on you putting your energy into it. And I don't knock anyone who is able to balance themselves and pull that off. I really don't. I wish that I had some type of balance to go out there and do the same thing. But what I wouldn't be would be a parent because you can't be both. You can't watch your children and pay attention to your children and keep an eye on predators if you're not there. I am going to stop there, and there's going to be a part two, three, and four to this. Please, if you have any comments, anything you would like to share, please drop them in the comment section. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe for notifications. Please give me a like. Please give me a like if you want to. If not, give me a dislike. I really appreciate your time and hearing me, and I hope that I sparked maybe a flame in someone who will try to heal. I forgive any. Please, I apologize to anyone who felt triggered by the mention of any of these traumas. I know how that is, and I can't stand triggers, and I have many of them. Even this live triggered me because I wanted to do this a long time ago and I just was not ready. It triggered me until today. So that means I'm making progress and I'm very glad of that because there's a dark place that we go to sometimes and it's not healthy to stay there. It's going to happen. It's going to be things that you feel like you can't handle. It's going to be times and people, places, and things. It happens, but it's not sent to destroy you. It is sent to teach you a lesson. And I really, 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 really want to send peace and love to everybody. Please be safe, be aware, and I love you.